For years, we've been doing the same exact dance with our sparkling water makers. We fill the proprietary bottle with cold water, we buzz the carbonation, and then we open it up and we carefully pour in our syrup so it doesn't explode all over the counter. Well, SodaStream just dropped something completely new. This is the SodaStream fountain, and it completely changes the entire game for home seltzer makers by mixing the flavor and the carbonation as it dispenses right into your glass. But is this actually worth the premium price tag, or is it just a shiny new gimmick? Let's find out. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Joe and I'm one half of Two Crazy Ketos. Now, if you've been following our channel for any length of time, you already know that both Rachel and I absolutely love sparkling water. We drink it plain, we use it to mix up electrolytes, and we even use different zero sugar soda syrups to mix up soda at home. Now, we've been using the classic SodaStream systems for years, and we've absolutely loved them, especially after I hacked the old machine and modified it to run off of this external 5-pound CO2 tank, because that saved us a massive amount of money over buying these expensive SodaStream refills. But even though we loved it, the traditional SodaStream setup has always had three major issues. Number one, you are strictly limited to using these proprietary bottles. You have to fizz the water inside of their bottles, and they're bulky and expensive to replace. Number two, you have to use ice cold water. A lot of people don't know this, but if your water isn't chilled down to a near freezing temperature before you press the button, the CO2 just won't dissolve properly in the water and you end up with weak, flat bubbles. Number three is the cost of these factory CO2 refills. If you don't do what I did and modify your machine to use an external tank like this, these SodaStream cylinder swaps are incredibly expensive, running around $17 a pop, plus shipping every time you run dry. Now, because of those limitations, the one thing I've always wanted was a true commercial-style fountain dispenser. I wanted a machine sitting right on my counter that would automatically mix the syrup for me and dispense my beverage directly into whatever glass I wanted. In fact, when Rachel and I first started rebuilding this house, my original plan was to install a soda fountain system in the kitchen. That is, until I looked into it and found the $3,000 price tag just to get a single flavor dispenser and a water chiller setup. Well, SodaStream has finally released a brand new product that promises to do exactly that for a fraction of the cost. This is the new SodaStream fountain. Now, what exactly is the SodaStream fountain and what makes it completely different from every other machine they've ever made? Well, until now, every SodaStream machine has followed the same exact manual workflow. Carbonate plain water in a special bottle, then open it up, pour in your syrup, roll it around to mix it. The fountain throws that entire process out the window. This is a fully automated single-serve beverage dispenser. It functions just like a commercial soda fountain that you see at the restaurant. It mixes the water, the CO2, and the syrup inside of the machine and then dispenses a perfectly mixed beverage directly into your glass. Now, before we dive into it, I want to make one thing very clear. Today's video is completely unsponsored. SodaStream did not send me this, and they are not paying me to say anything nice. I purchased this SodaStream fountain with my own money because this was a product that I genuinely wanted for our home. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what you get inside of this box. I'm going to give you a live demonstration on how it handles mixing and dispensing, and then I'm going to break down the pros and cons so you can decide if this is something that you should buy for your own kitchen. And for all my fellow DIYers out there who are looking at this machine right now and asking the same question I did, can you modify this new version to use external CO2 tanks? I'm going to answer that question for you at the end of this video. There is a specific catch that you need to know about, so make sure you stick around to the end. So this is everything that comes with the SodaStream fountain, but it actually is available in two different configurations, either as a starter kit, which is what you see right here, or as a bundle. The starter kit's available at Walmart, Target, and on the SodaStream website. This kit comes with the drink maker, one CO2 quick connect cylinder, which is the pink bottle, and yes, you can use old pink bottles that you happen to have laying around. It comes with 2 of these Flavor Connect caps for using their syrups in the machine. Then it has a water tank, and it comes with 1 bottle of soda flavoring. Now, if you buy it in Walmart and Target, you don't get a choice in what flavor soda syrup comes with. You're gonna get Pepsi Zero. Walmart is selling it for $189, and Target is currently selling it for $199. But if you buy it on the SodaStream website, it is still $199. However, you now get to choose what flavor soda syrup you want, and it also comes with a 2-year warranty. Now, on the SodaStream website, you also have the option to buy a bundle version, and that's gonna include everything that you have here, plus you're gonna get 2 more of these CO2 cylinders, but there's a catch to that. You have to return 2 empties within 90 days of your purchase, and you also get a second soda syrup flavor. And this bundle is selling for $229.99. Before we get into the setup, I did forget to mention that it also comes with a drip tray as well as a piece to move your glass to different heights so that you don't have a lot of splashing, and I'll show you how to use that in a minute. So basic setup with this is pretty easy. So it comes with this water tank. And like I said in the intro, you do have to use ice cold water. So I've got some water here that I've had chilling, and I'm just gonna go ahead and fill up this entire container. It doesn't matter if you're putting ice cubes in it, get in there because you're not gonna use all this water in one sitting. What I've been doing is actually filling up the container with about half water and half ice, and then I just let it sit on the counter, and pretty much all day long, I've had cold water in the container. So now over here on the side is where your water is going to go. So you're gonna take your water container and you're just going to drop it in just like that. That's all you have to do. Now what you wanna do is prepare your syrup. So we've got a Pepsi Zero Sugar here. We're gonna take off the top, but I would recommend saving these. Then we're gonna take one of our Flavor Connect caps and put it on here and just screw it on tight. Now that we have our Flavor Connect cap in our syrup, we need to go ahead and put it in the unit. So right here, there is a door. We're just gonna open up that door. And then all you're gonna do is come over here and you're going to push it up. It locks in, and then you turn it over so it goes right in front of the fountain dispenser. Then we can close the door. So now we have our syrup in there. Next thing we need to do is actually put in our CO2 canister, and that's gonna go right over here. There is a door right here, and this goes in very easily. So what we wanna do is lift up this little handle. We're gonna grab our CO2 canister, we're gonna drop it down, and then all we do is lift up this handle or pull down this handle, and now our CO2 is locked in place. Now let's go over some of the settings that are on the SodaStream fountain. So up here we have a top button. This is going to be the drink size. It has 3 levels. When you press it, there's a little light that lights up for small, medium, or large. The small is going to be 8 ounces, the medium is going to be 16 ounces, and the large is going to be 24 ounces. One thing I do want to let you know is you'll see when we actually dispense our soda that even though you can do 24 ounces, it dispenses it 8 ounces at a time. By that, what I mean is it's gonna put out 8 ounces, then it's gonna carbonate another 8 ounces, dispense that, and then it's gonna carbonate a third time to give you a total of 24 ounces. The bottom button right here is for your CO2 level. You can have it as flat where no CO2, then you can have it on a light CO2 level. The middle one is what they say is the average CO2, and then you can have it for extra bubbly. And again, you just press it, and when you press it, there's a little orange light that's gonna light up for what your level is. We're gonna put it back down to the white light because we're gonna need that. Also, this CO2 sensor also is going to let you know if your cylinder is running empty. So as it gets closer to empty, it's gonna start alerting you, hey, you might wanna get a new cylinder ready. And then once your cylinder is empty, it just won't do any more CO2. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Up here on the top of the dispenser, there is a dial, and this dial is for your flavor setting. So it starts off with 0, which means it's not gonna dispense any flavor at all. You're gonna get just plain seltzer water. Then you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 is gonna be extra syrup. I like to have it on 3. I find that is just the perfect amount of syrup, but your taste may vary. Then there's also a B button, which stands for boost. When you turn it to B, the top LED ring is gonna light up purple, and that's gonna do 2 things. Number 1, it's going to allow us to purge the system, but also it allows you to add more syrup if you want it even sweeter or have more of a soda flavor. So in order to purge the system, what you need to do anytime you swap out to a brand new bottle, you have to dispense just a little bit of syrup. So what you do is just move your drink tray up, put a small glass underneath, and then you're going to press the top button, and it's gonna dispense a little bit of syrup. So we're just gonna press it 1 time, and it's gonna purge out the system and put a little bit of syrup. They do tell you that sometimes you need to press it just 1 time and you'll get syrup, and other times you'll have to press it twice. You just wanna get a little bit of syrup coming out of the nozzle. That gets that whole flavor setup ready to go. And you only have to do this if you're starting a brand new syrup bottle. If you have 2 or 3 bottles and they all have flavor connect caps on them, you don't have to purge it every time you swap flavors. Just whenever you crack open a brand new bottle and put your flavor connect cap in there, because you need to get the syrup up into the tube on the flavor connect cap. The next thing you want to do is actually purge water. If you haven't used it at all, you want to get water up into the system. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn our flavor all the way to 0. We're going to set the drink level to small, and we're going to set carbon dioxide to nothing, and we're just going to press the button, and that's going to fill up water into the unit and then pour it out. And again, that's just kind of giving you a wash and getting water into the system. Simple as that. So now we are all ready to make our first soda. Now again, I did want to just kind of mention this drip tray. You have a drip tray down here on the bottom, and then this is just little cup level. So you have a setting all the way on the bottom, then you have a middle one, and then you have a really high one. So let me go put this away. I'm gonna put a little bit more ice water into the container, and then we're gonna make 3 different batches of soda. Okay, let's go ahead and make our soda. I have 3 different glasses here. We're gonna go 8 ounces, 16 ounces, and 24 ounces. I also have my phone, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna time to see how long does it take to make each glass. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with the 8 ounces. We're gonna go ahead and put our glass up in here. We're gonna set this to 3. I find that 3 is the perfect setting for soda that I like. Then we're going to make sure that we have the level on small glass, and then we're gonna make it at a medium fizziness. So that's 2 of the orange lights. And now here we go. So what it's doing is it's pumping water into the machine right now. You're gonna hear it actually doing the carbonating. And now it put it into the water, and now it's gonna dispense it out. And you can see how it's going to pour some water, add syrup, pour water, add syrup. That's going to allow it to have the perfect mixture. And that took 28 seconds. Let's go ahead and give this a test. I think this is the perfect amount of syrup. Sometimes I want it a little bit fizzier, sometimes I don't. So for the most part, I will keep it in the middle. Rachel tends to like it extra bubbly, and so she'll put it to the higher setting. But I think this is the perfect amount. I would say start at 3. If you want a little bit more syrup, you can always turn it to the boost button to add a little bit more, and then next time try the 4 level. I also think this is a great feature because what this allows people to do is if you're trying to maybe cut back on your soda habit, you can start off on the 3 or 4 setting and then slowly dial it back where you're getting less and less syrup and basically watering down your soda. Let's go ahead and put in a 16-ounce glass. We're going to put this up to the medium size. We're gonna leave it on this middle setting. Let me hit the reset and let's see how long does it take to make 16 ounces. Again, you can hear it actually doing the pressurization. And now it's gonna pump out the second 8 ounces. Remember what I said earlier, it does 8 ounces at a time. Oop. That was a close call. This is a 16-ounce glass, and for some reason I thought it would actually do it. But that took 1 minute. So we learned something. A pint jar is too small for the 16-ounce setting, but we're gonna go ahead and try this. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead. We're gonna take this tray and we're gonna drop it down. And I'm just gonna put it all the way down on the bottom. We'll put it in a mason jar. And we need to add a little bit more cold water. Okay, we're gonna come back up here. We're gonna get it to the large setting, leave everything else the same, and we're gonna go ahead and start it. Theoretically, it should be just under 1.5 minutes. So there's your first 8 ounces, and you can see it is nice and fizzy. The key to getting fizzy water here is not so much the setting, but it's how cold your water is. The best thing you can do is have ice cold water. So what I've been doing is actually filling up the tank, and then I just leave a whole bunch of ice in there, or I have water in the refrigerator that's already cold, and then when I put it into the tank, I also add ice. The colder you can get that water, the more fizz you're gonna have with your SodaStream. And that doesn't just apply to this machine, that applies to any time you're trying to make a carbonated beverage. You wanna have that water as cold as possible. So if you've been using a SodaStream in the past and you're like, it doesn't really make super fizzy water, make sure you're using cold water. Because otherwise what ends up happening is you go through more gas because you keep having to pump it more times. And just as I said, right at 1 minute and 30 seconds. So now that you've seen the SodaStream fountain in action, let's talk about the reality of living with this machine. Like I said, I've been using it for about 2 weeks, so I really want to break down the exact pros and cons that I've found so that you know exactly what you're getting into if you're considering purchasing this. So let's start off with the pros. Number one, you don't have any more bulky proprietary bottles. This for me is the biggest win. I mean, you no longer have to buy, wash, or store the small mountain of expensive plastic SodaStream bottles that we have in cluttering up our cabinets. That to me is probably the biggest win. Number two is gonna be dispensing 1 glass at a time. Because it makes the soda on demand, your drink is always as fresh and fizzy as you want it right when you pour it. You don't have to have half-used bottles sitting on the counter or in your fridge that always seem to slowly go flat. Number three is gonna be the portion options. You get the 3 different size levels right on the interface. So like you saw, you can have the small glass, the regular glass, or even the mason jar. I tend to use the mason jar size, and I find it dispenses the perfect amount where I can put a bunch of like the nugget ice in the bottom and it never overflows. And I've just learned that to have it about 1/3 to 1/2 full with ice, and I get the perfect measurement every time, unlike what I did with the pint-sized jar. Number four, The perfect mix every time. I think this is a big game changer because it dispenses the syrup directly into the water stream, and it does it like alternating back and forth between water and syrup. It mixes really beautifully. So you don't have that manual rolling around of the syrup in your bottle or flat spots in the bottom of your glass where some of your soda is really well mixed and other parts aren't. Number 5 is gonna be the flavor and fizz control. So you do get 3 different carbonation settings to dial in your bubbles, and then having those 4 different flavor intensity settings plus the boost button helps you to really get it to the exact taste that you want. So now for the cons. Number 1, the water temperature issue is still here. I mean, just like the regular SodaStream, you still have to store cold water in your refrigerator or actively add ice to the removable container. So if your water isn't freezing cold, like I said, the carbonation is gonna suffer. Now, even though it is a con, one thing I would say is it's nice to be able to have the container because you can put a whole bunch of ice cubes in there with the water to keep it cold. Number 2 is you are locked into their fizziness settings. And I'm gonna say this is probably one of my biggest cons. So you only get the 3 fizz settings, and if you press the button and then decide later that I want this a lot more bubbly, you can't run the cycle again on the same glass. So with the old system, if you put in your bottle and after doing it even on the highest setting, you're like, I want it even more bubbly, you can stick the bottle back in there and try it one more time. You can't do that with this. You only have these 3 settings, small, medium, or large. Number 3, it is a little bit slow. Because it only does 8 ounces at a time, it does take a little bit longer than just fizzing one big classic 1 liter bottle all at one time. So you're giving up the speed of having the bottle for the freshness of a fresh carbonated beverage. Okay, number 4 is the machine only comes with 2 of these Flavor Connect caps. So at the time that we're recording this video, you actually cannot buy extras of these on their website yet. The website does say they're gonna be available later, and when I tried to Google SodaStream Fountain Flavor Connect caps, I found the actual page for them on their website, though it doesn't show up in the menu. But when you go to that page, it says like sold out or unavailable or something like that. So they are going to be available, but at the time I'm recording the video, they're not available. That means if you like to rotate through 4 or 5 different flavors throughout the day, maybe like you want to have a glass of Pepsi at one point and then a root beer, maybe you're drinking sugar-free and for some reason your kids are still drinking sugared soda and you want to swap them out, you only have 2 of these Flavor Connect caps. What that means is if you want to switch out to another bottle, you're going to have to physically take the cap off, then wash it, put it in the new bottle, and then put it in this unit and purge it, so you're gonna waste a little bit of syrup. With that said, number 5 is actually the caps themselves. So you have to actually remove the bottle from the front slot to swap flavors. What I mean by that is, so right now we have Pepsi in here. Let's say now I wanna make root beer. So I have to pull this out. It's not that big of a deal. Grab my root beer, put it up in here, if I can get to it, and then close it in. Along with that, you will see, because there's a little bit of syrup in that front nozzle, because we purged it, I had some come out. So it can create a little bit of a mess sometimes when you're trying to swap out the flavors. So I actually like having it go into the thing, but comparing it to the old SodaStream thing, it was nice where you would have your bottle and then you just go up into your cabinet, you grab whatever flavor and you pour it in, whereas here you have to swap it out. If you're like me and for the most part you're drinking the same thing, or I'm just gonna usually finish an entire flavor before I go to a new flavor, then it's probably not gonna be that big of a deal. With that being said, if you have a flavor that you don't use very often, like for me, Mountain Dew Code Red, once in a blue moon I wanna have some, you could always just run a unflavored batch of seltzer water, put it in your glass, and then grab that one with the little spout. Remember, I told you to save this little thing because you can have it stored on there, and then you can give a little squirt of whatever flavor you want in there. The only thing you're losing there is the mixing of the syrup with the water as it's dispensing. Number 6 is definitely gonna be the price. At $199, this machine is more than double the price of something like the eTerra model. All right, let's answer the big question from the beginning of the video. The SodaStream fountain uses the same exact pink Quick Connect bottles as the Terra and the eTerra model. So can you modify this thing to hook up a bulk external CO2 tank like this one and then use one of these adapters? The short answer is no. You can't just slap one of these aftermarket adapters into this thing. And I tried a lot of different ones thinking maybe it was my adapter, and none of them worked, and I finally figured out why. It comes down to one massive difference between the old machines like the Terra and the eTerra and this new fountain. The old machines really were kind of dumb. The fountain is an electronic machine packed with sensors and digital brains, and because of that, it's incredibly picky about what's plugged into the Quick Connect chamber. On a machine like the Terra and the eTerra, you have a basic lever. You push the handle down or you press the button on the eTerra, and then it mechanically jams this little pin that's in here open, and then the gas flows from your cylinder up through there. The machine doesn't care where the gas is coming from. It's just looking for gas. But the fountain controls the gas electronically. When you hit this button, it's using an internal electronic valve to open up this pin in here and regulate the fizz. It also has a gas level sensor, and that works by monitoring the back pressure of the gas line. See, these aftermarket Quick Connect adapters are using generic internal pins and valves that flow much harder, and they don't have the specific flow restriction design that is inside of these valves. So when you hook this 5-pound cylinder up through one of these adapters, the fountain's electronic sensors immediately read a massive unregulated pressure spike, and it doesn't match the factory cylinder. The computer then flags it as a system error, and then it flashes the low CO2 and malfunction indicator lights on the front, and it just won't dispense anything other than uncarbonated water. Now, you technically can bypass this if you're really handy and probably void your warranty. You would have to take one of your empty containers, make sure it's completely empty, get all the gas out of it. You'd have to take this, and then you'd have to remove the Quick Connect valve off of the top, and then you would have to buy a specialized M18, I think it's by 1.5 threaded adapter block, and then screw your factory valve into one side of that, and then put your tank hose on the other side. The reason being is now you would be using the actual factory one that actually has regulators built into this little nozzle. So if you did that, it would work. But the major hurdle is going to be finding the exact female adapter block that won't leak the high pressure gas all over the kitchen. But don't worry, all is not lost. Even though you can't run a direct line from a 5-pound tank, I do have another video that I'm going to be putting out showing you a workaround where you can actually refill these pink cylinder canisters and save roughly $15 per canister. So if you want to beat the expensive $17 retail swap prices, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel with the notification bell on so that you don't miss that video when I put it out. So at the end of the day, do I recommend the SodaStream fountain? Well, my honest answer is it depends. I mean, personally, I really like this machine despite all the cons, and I absolutely plan on keeping it on the counter, even though Rachel would prefer I didn't take up more counter space. But to know if it's right for you, you're gonna have to ask yourself a couple of questions. I mean, first of all, do you really just love kitchen gadgets and gizmos like I do and want the latest and greatest? If so, you're probably gonna wanna buy it. Now, the other thing you have to ask is, are you okay with the cons that I mentioned? Now, if you're comparing this to the other big single-serve machine, maybe you've already decided that I want a single-serve machine and I just don't know if I wanna get this or the Ninja Thirsty. Personally, I think the SodaStream fountain is the clear winner. for a couple of different reasons. I mean, number one, it's coming from a company that's been specializing in-home carbonation for decades. Number two, it sits at a similar price range, but the biggest one is actually the bottles for the flavoring. First of all, SodaStream is affiliated with Pepsi, and so there's a lot more flavors available with SodaStream, but the bottles themselves, I mean, the Ninja Thirsty is this little tiny bottle that you put up on the top, and from everybody that I've talked to, the flavors don't even taste that good. But when you're done with it, you're kind of stuck with their bottles. This one here, even though it's using this proprietary bottle, it's really just a certain size. I mean, I think it's like, what, 14.9 ounces. But even though it's using this bottle and you have to have the Flavor Connect bottles, this is very easy to clean. That means is when this is empty, you can just clean it out and then make your own custom syrup, or even better, right now the older style SodaStream syrups, like these bottles here, they're on clearance every place I look. I've seen them in stores for as little as $1 to $2. So these are back at the old prices of $5 to $6, depending on where you buy them. But right now you can just load up on the old bottles. It's the same syrup, just a different bottle. Store a bunch of them, and then when this empties out, fill it up with this and save them some money for at least a little while. Now, if you already own a working SodaStream, it's probably not worth upgrading unless you're just like me and you're completely obsessed with the convenience of an individual single-serve glass. If you've been thinking about buying a SodaStream and don't already have one, and you've been looking at something like the eTerra, I think you might want to take a closer look at this. And I say that because at least with this machine, you're not going to have to buy those expensive bottles. The price of those bottles can add up quickly. I mean, depending on how many bottles you want to have around your house, the total cost of ownership between an eTerra setup with a few bottles and the fountain might actually be a wash when you're all done. So if you don't already own a SodaStream and you're considering buying one for the first time, you should probably take a hard look at this one, just because of the massive convenience factor of eliminating bottles. And if you were heavily considering the Ninja Thirsty and have been going back and forth between the Ninja Thirsty and the SodaStream fountain, I would tell you, grab the SodaStream fountain instead, try it for 30 days. You can always return it to Walmart, or there is a 30-day trial period on the SodaStream website, and try it for 30 days. Just because of SodaStream's brand reputation and because of the variety of syrups that are available pretty much everywhere. Now, if you do decide to pick one up, I highly recommend ordering it directly from the SodaStream website and choosing their bundle package. The reason I say that is for that $30 extra over the starter kit, they're giving you the extra bottle of syrup, which is like $6, and then you're getting 2 CO2 canisters in addition to the one that comes with the machine. Those canisters alone retail for $30 a piece. So for me, it's a no-brainer of a deal. You're getting a bunch of extra CO2 and you can keep swapping it out. Now, even though we're not sponsored or affiliated with SodaStream at all, we make no money from them at all, I am gonna leave down below a 20% off friend referral code that when I ordered mine, they gave me that code, and it's basically like, hey, tell your friends about us, we'll give them 20% off. I don't make any money off of it. I think they'll give me a 15% off coupon if I buy something from their website, but we don't make any money. So I'll leave that down below in the description box to help you save some extra money if you want to grab one for yourself. Now, we want to hear from you guys. Drop a comment down below and let us know what you think of the new SodaStream fountain. Is eliminating the plastic bottles worth the $200 price tag to you, or are you just going to stick with the classic SodaStream pump system? Is the fact that you can't modify it to use an external bottle a deal breaker? Let us know in the comments section below. While you're down there in the comments section, do us a favor and hit the like button on this video. That's going to do two things. Number one, it's going to help build our channel, and it's going to help us get closer to our goal of 100,000 subscribers. More importantly, though, what it's going to do is it's going to let us know what kind of videos you guys are looking to see. Now, while you're down there, take a look at the video we have linked right over there. Also, make sure you take a look at the most recent video I'm going to put right over here. But whether you head that way or you head this way, don't forget to head this way. Subscribe to our channel and hit that little bell button. This way you are notified every time we upload a new video. Till next time, bye.